Week 10 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I look to sell and trade this week. The first hitter, David Fry of the Cleveland Guardians. So David Fry, a lot of versatility and a lot of fantasy value right now. Catcher first and outfield. Now one of the best players in all Major League Baseball. And what a year it's been. 8 home runs, 27 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 27 runs scored, a .355 average, and a .493 on base. And over the last couple weeks, he's taken it to another level. 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 10 runs scored, .433 average, and a .575 on base for someone who qualifies a catcher first and outfield here. That's a big plus as well if you want to sell off David Fry, because he's playing minimum 6 days a week right now for this Cleveland Guardian team. Last season, just about the same amount of bats. Last year, he had 101 at-bats. This year, 107. That batting average, 117 points higher. And the on-base percentage is out of this world as well, almost a 500 on the season. So right now, I believe you could get a hitter and a starting pitcher in a deal for Fry. May 28th at the Rockies, 3 for 5, a homer, 3 RBIs, a stolen base, 3 runs scored. May 29th at the Rockies, 1 for 4 with a rib. May 31st versus the Nats, and that 1 for 3, a homer, 3 RBIs. And June 1st versus the Nats, 1 for 2. So right now, David Fry playing great baseball. And like I said, one of the best players in fantasy baseball, ranked number 19 right now. So I want to see what you could get for him on the trade block. This is the time to do it, because obviously he's at peak value at a 500 on base percentage pretty much, and hitting over 350 obviously is just unheard of for a whole season, especially nowadays. So right now, David Fry playing over his head is a sell high candidate this week. The next hitter, Matt Vierling of the Detroit Tigers. So Vierling, he was a hot pickup over the last couple weeks here. 7 home runs, 28 RBIs, 26 runs scored, 294 average, and a 324 on base. So Vierling, he got 479 at bats last year, and it wasn't a good season at all. 10 homers, 44 RBIs, 261 average. So this year he's showing more pop. The RBIs have definitely gone up for Vierling, and the last 2 weeks is where he's been on the tear. 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, 11 runs scored, a 395 average, and a 438 on base. So Vierling, he qualifies at third and outfield, good versatility as well. And like I said, the last couple weeks is where he's getting it going. May 29th versus the Pirates, 4 for 8, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 3 runs scored in a doubleheader. May 30th at Boston, 1 for 4 run. May 31st at the Red Sox, 1 for 4 run. June 1st at Boston, 2 for 4 with a run. And June 2nd at the Red Sox, 2 for 6 with a run. So right now, he's the catalyst, leading off of batting third usually for this Detroit Tiger team. And he's been on a good hit streak as well, 9 games in a row with a hit. So right now, playing good baseball for this Detroit Tiger team. Like I said, we saw a big sample size last year, 479 at-bats. And there's not much of a track record for it to tell me that he's going to keep this up. So right now, well, he's playing good baseball, and a player who you picked up off the waiver wire and could flip in a deal for someone more consistent and more in a track record is something I say almost every week in these type of videos. That's the type of deal I will look for this week. Next hitter I look to sell and trade this week is Nolan Gorman of the St. Louis Cardinals. And Nolan Gorman, he's starting to get hot for this Cardinal team and definitely show power once again. I know he's a 30 home run hitter, but he's pretty much one-dimensional power hitter where he's going to have a low batting average. He's going to have a high strikeout rate, and he don't really hit well versus lefties. So on the season, 13 home runs, 30 RBIs, 27 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 230 average, and a 318 on base, and already 72 strikeouts in 178 at-bats. I know last season, 27 and 76 with a 236 average, and that's what you're going to get once again from Gorman. But the last month, he's been on a tear, 9 home runs, 18 RBIs, 19 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 309 average, and a 413 on base. And to go even deeper in the stats, in the last week alone, 5 home runs, 9 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a 348 average, and 400 on base. So right now, he's one of the hottest hitters in all fantasy baseball is Nolan Gorman. He's been on a power tear, hitting 2 home runs in last night's ball game. But I just don't see him being a hitter where he's going to hit 40-plus home runs. Definitely the 25 to 30 is a possibility, but he's a one-trick pony for the most part. May 29th at the Reds, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. May 31st at the Phillies, 0 for 4. June 1st at Philly, 1 for 3 with a run. June 2nd at Philly, 2 for 4, a homer, 3 RBIs. And June 3rd at the Astros, like I mentioned, 2 for 3, 2 homers, 2 RBIs. So right now, Gorman, no doubt about it, he's going to give great power, but I think he's unloaded a lot of home runs already where he could slow down a little bit because he's a streaky hitter, and the last week is where he's really gotten it going. So right now, also qualifying at second and third base, I think it's a good time to sell him high. We know second base is a weak position in fantasy baseball. And like I said, Gorman's pretty much a home run or nothing, even though there's a lot of plays like that in the league. The hot streak he's on right now, I believe he's at peak value. The next hitter I look to sell in trades Ryan Mountcastle of the Baltimore Orioles. So Mountcastle, it's been a solid bounce back year for him in the early going. 8 home runs, 24 RBIs, 31 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 284 average, and a 323 on base last season. It wasn't a horrible year, but a middle-of-the-pack type of year for Mountcastle. 18 homers, 68 RBIs, a 270 average, but the last couple weeks, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 8 runs scored, a 383 average, and a 420 on base. So Mountcastle, he's getting a lot of good pitches to hit, batting third or fourth for this Baltimore Oriole team. But I just feel like there's a lot of prospects in that minor league system. And Mountcastle could be an odd man out if they call up a bunch of these players at once, even though we've seen them up and down so far this season. It started with Jackson Holliday. He got sent back to the minor leagues because they got a lot of middle infielders is this Baltimore team, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if they move one of them to first base down the line. Then also as well, now we've seen Connor Norby up, Hesker Kjerstad, who's an outfielder. So a lot of prospects in the system, one of the best systems, if not the best farm system in the majors. I don't know if Mountcastle will keep holding on to the job for the remainder of the year, even though he's playing good baseball of late. May 31st versus Tampa, 2 for 4. June 1st versus Tampa, 2 for 3, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored. June 2nd versus the Rays, 1 for 5. And June 3rd at the Blue Jays, 0 for 5. So right now playing good baseball, showing good power at a decent rate right now, 8 home runs. He's on pace for about 20, 24 home runs this season as Mountcastle. But I just believe, like I said, this Oriole team has a lot of guys in the minor leagues ready to go. And he might be the odd man out, even if it's a DH or obviously first base. They're going to have to move some pieces around this Baltimore because these young kids are ready and they've mastered the minor leagues. So they could have a spot at first base for all we know if they move some of them around. And the fifth and final hitter I look to sell in trades, Luis Renfingo, the Los Angeles Angels. So Renfingo, he's having a good season, one of the best batting average hitters in the league. But I believe it's not going to keep up at this rate because he's a free swinger and he's not really a player that's drawing walks. So he's getting good counts and hitting the baseball well is Renfingo. But I believe it's going to slow down on the year. 4 home runs, 17 RBIs, 24 runs scored, 13 stolen bases, a 323 average, and a 367 on base. He definitely has a lot of fantasy value, obviously, qualifying at second, third, short, and outfielder. So an ultimate utility man for fantasy baseball is Renfingo. He's getting everyday at-bats and possibly their best pure hitter this season. Obviously, with Mike Trout out right now is Renfingo. So the last couple weeks, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, a stolen base, 9 runs scored, 348 average, and a 375 on base. So right now, for the most part, he's a 2-category type of player, stolen bases and batting average he's going to bring you. I know last season did pop 16 home runs, and he definitely could get to that once again, but only had 6 stolen bases and a 264 average. So right now I think the batting average is going to drop. The stolen bases, I believe, will stay the same because he's getting more playing time than he did last season is Renfingo. We had 394 at-bats last year, already 155. So he should break that unless he gets injured this year. And he's been the table setter for this Angel team, even though we know their offense isn't all that great, especially with injuries and players underperformed. May 31st at the Mariners, 0 for 4. June 1st at the Mariners, 1 for 4. June 2nd at the Mariners, 1 for 4. And June 3rd versus the Padres, 1 for 3 with a run. So Renfingo playing good baseball. He's getting a hit per game, it seems like, hitting over 300. But I just don't believe it's going to keep up at this rate. And like I said, pretty much he's been stolen base and batting average, which isn't a horrible thing, but you want guys who are more versatile. And right now I believe he's not going to be that great of a batting average hitter where it's just a little bit fluky right now. So that's a few hitters I look to sell and trade for week 10 of the fantasy baseball season.